know how to condense this quickly, but I'll try. On June 18th of last year, I looked at my caregiver and I said, I've had it. I just can't do this anymore. I'd been in pain for 17 years. I had recurring meningitis that had done tremendous brain damage, lost my memory, had very little balance, constantly walking into walls, falling down, smacking my head, affected my vision. I had glaucoma, I had cataracts. I had COPD. You saw me come in with the tank. And I take one when I go outdoors if I'm doing any walking. But other than that, I'm not on oxygen, and I have been 24 hours a day. I was basically in bed last June 18th. That was where I spent most of my life, or on the couch, watching TV, hooked up to a machine, of one variety or another. And I had extremely high blood pressure. The illnesses that I was living through are too many to stand here and list. But if you threw a name of an illness at me, I probably had it. And I was tired. I was fed up. I just was sick of fighting because every day seemed like a battle to stay alive. So this friend of the family came to visit. She had gone to Singapore with her husband to take a job, and she came home to Phoenix for a short visit. And she stopped into Carol's, who was a friend of hers, and she picked up a stone. And when she got to my house to visit with all of us, she had walked by my bedroom and the door was open and she saw how sick I was. So she said to one of my roommates, she needs a stone. She said, I brought it for you, but she needs the stone. So the next day, to add insult to injury, my daughter took me to the doctor, which is, traveling was very difficult at best. But when I got out of the vehicle, an oxygen tank fell on me and broke my left wrist. And these things were happening to me all the time. Well, I looked at that stone on the table, and over 17 years period, you have to understand, people brought me a lot of cures. I mean, you name it, they brought it to me. I tried it, but it never worked. And you got to the point where you were psychologically defeated, because when it wouldn't work, you felt this. I mean, what's the point? So anyway, my arm was in such terrible pain that I thought I might as well try this stone. So I started using it. Well, I couldn't touch my arm, of course, but I started waving it back and forth across my arm, and which was very swollen and very black and blue. And one of my roommates, one of my other roommates, who's here today, was sitting there watching me do this at 5 o'clock in the morning, because she heard me in the kitchen and was concerned that something was wrong. So I'm using this stone across my arm, and she says, Cindy, my God, look at your arm. And I looked down, swelling was gone, the black and blue was gone. And so I looked at I got it at the central part where the break was, and there wasn't even a bruise there. It wasn't even yellow. There was no tinge of color to it. And I could move my fingers. Now, before I used the stone, I couldn't do that because I had a broken wrist. But before I had a broken wrist, I couldn't do it either because I had very, very debilitating problems with my joints. And having been a musician, it was heartbreaking to me all those many years to not be able to play an instrument. So, not knowing any different, I thought, well, this is amazing. So my head hurts, as it always did. And I thought, why not just rub it on my head? So I started rubbing it on my head, and my headache went away. And then I thought, well, I have lesions on my spine from bad experiences with lumbar punctures, which I had more than I care to count. And all of a sudden the lesions stopped hurting. And I want you to understand, I had many times in physical therapy, I would lay down on my belly and they would do physical therapy on me, and I would tell them, don't touch this specific area. And don't even touch it with a feather. I can't stand it. It's very painful. And I started using the stone there, just over it, not touching it, just over it and over it and over it. A few days later, I had an itch and I reached around and I started scratching, and all of a sudden I realized that's the spot. I don't have any pain anymore. And I can have any one of you, and I don't know very many of you personally. I can have any one of you come up here and push on my back, and it would not hurt me. So it continues from there. And I have medical proof. I am a COPD patient. I am a recurring meningitis patient. I am all of the things that I told you, unfortunately, on paper. But my blood pressure's gone down. I've lost 40 pounds using this stone without any extra work in terms of diet. I have changed my medications 3 times to have the lower doses. And if I should get a headache, I have absolute control of it in a short period of time. And I don't have a backache any longer. And I can do it without oxygen. You see me standing here talking, I'm not gasping. I do take it with me when I go outdoors. This is not the most pleasant environment to live in. But I'm sorry I'm taking this long to explain, but I wanted you to understand the really depth of my life condition. And I've had cancer that I've had to deal with. I mean, like I said, every disease you can probably pick that's common to the human in life, I've had to fight. So I encourage you, if you have not gotten a stone, I encourage you to get one. But how you use it, you know, is going to be up to you, because until I did the thing with actually placing it on the body, everybody else was putting it in water and drinking it, so I did not know that it was a water stone. So I just thought, well, you must rub it on your body. So that's how my life got connected to Jay and using the stone and Carol, and that's how come I'm here today. So thank you very much.
Incredible. You see, I think Cindy told me once, she says, you know, I was laying in bed saying, Lord, why am I going through all this? Why is this all happening to me? Well, it gives me goosebumps. She's incredible. Cindy had aspergillus. Okay.
Oh, I forgot that.
That's okay. Aspergillus is fungus, straight out. Okay. So I've been wondering all these years, why has this low-dose radiated stone been curing cancer? And I always thought that the reason was because it was building up your immune system to fight this off. But see, suddenly here comes Cindy, and she gets better immediately with aspergillus. Okay.
With that what?
Aspergillus, which is a fungus. Okay.
The mortality rate with it in the lung is 95%.